Hi, I'm attorney Gayle Gerling Pettinga, and welcome to our first edition of Cooking Up Justice. Today I'll be cooking with Erica Norris Taylor, CEO of the YWCA of Evansville.
Cooking Up Justice with attorney Gayle Gerling Pettinga.
Hi Erica, welcome
Hello.
to Cooking Up Justice.
Thank you for having me.
I know you're up for just about anything if you're willing to be the first guest on my cooking show. Well, we came up with this idea because it's summer, it's hot, there's a lot of pitch-ins, and we wanted to think of some good salads that we'd be proud to take to the pitch-in.
Absolutely. I know when we're invited to get-togethers, my husband and his friends tend to focus just on the meat, and I always ask, what's the side dish? So these are great selections that we're going to do to take to barbecues and get-togethers.
That's right. So the first salad is the strawberry arugula salad.
Arugula
Yeah,
makes me happy.
you like arugula. So
Yes.
arugula is from Italy. You can see it's very simple. For your salad, there's really just two main ingredients. The first one is the 4 cups of arugula.
Okay, should I just dive right in?
Just dive right in and
You
dump
have
it
4
in.
cups of delicious arugula.
Okay. And 3 cups of strawberries. It's already looking pretty.
Oh, it smells so good too. The strawberries are so fresh.
And then a dash of ground pepper. All right. And a half a teaspoon of salt.
Do we need to mention that it's kosher salt?
Well, I prefer cooking with kosher salt. It has a more delicate flavor on the food than regular table salt. And then a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. And a tablespoon of olive oil.
Olive oil.
And then toss. And so you can see it's less than a 15-minute salad if you have someone do all of the prep work for you.
Cooking Up Justice with attorney Gayle Gerling Pettinga.
So now the next salad is a fennel and orange salad. And I found this recipe on a cooking app. And I had never cooked with fennel before. In fact, I didn't even know what it looked like, but this is how you find it in the store. Of course, I've cooked with fennel seed as an herb, but not with the fennel bulb. And I don't know that they sell a lot of these, because sometimes when I'm at the store and I'm checking out, they say, is that bok choy?
Oh.
And it, you know, or a leek or something.
In real life
so
either,
it is interesting. And every part of the fennel bulb is edible. Here, you're supposed to take 2 fennel bulbs, and you can chop or slice them up with a mandolin. And I brought also a mandolin just in case you haven't used it, to show you how it works. This is what it looks like, and has a guard for the blade. And the fennel actually slices up in a very pretty way, really very easy. And just begin pushing down. And now you can see how pretty the fennel turns out, and it's ready to put in your salad. I've already peeled 2 oranges and made them into pie wedges, and then cut those up into segments, and that's ready to add to the salad. And then 2 tablespoons of cilantro.
Another one of my favorites.
Yeah, it smells so good. And then you're going to need the juice of 1 lime.
I'm really impressed with all of Gayle's handy kitchen gadgets.
Thank you. Well, when I started, I didn't have any of these, but the more I cook, then the more I decided I'd like to have them. And you're also going to add the juice of a half of an orange. And this recipe can also be done with tangerines or small sweet oranges, you know, if you would find that easier to work with. It's going everywhere. stand back.
Another very fragrant salad.
Yes. Yeah. All right, and then the last thing we need is a teaspoon of salt. And you mix it up. And I have had great success with this recipe because everyone I've served it to has asked for it.
Oh, is that right?
So there you go. 2 unusual salads, not macaroni and cheese, not baked beans, not potato salad, but very pretty, and take 15 minutes to make each.
Very healthy. I think my children would even eat this, that's good.
Cooking up justice with attorney Gayle Gerling Pettinga.
So Erica, you are a jack of all trades. You're a DJ, you're an attorney, you're on multiple boards in Evansville, and I know you used to practice law, but you quit, you say, to pursue your passion. And what was that?
I've always just had a passion for helping those that were less fortunate, underserved, at risk, just using my talents to further a good cause.
Yeah, and you can see that from all of the boards that you're a member of.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with the YWCA before
Absolutely.
you went there?
You know, it's very funny. When I first moved to Evansville in '99, I was part of the women lawyers group that met on the last Friday of every month. You probably have been to those meetings.
Yes.
And they met at the YWCA. So one of the first establishments that I ever frequented in Evansville happened to be the parlor at the YWCA, because that's where their meetings were. And now I've come full circle and I work there. So it's kind of ironic how that all worked out.
Yeah. Well, I really would like for you to tell us about your housing programs. I mean, I think you have 3 housing programs.
Yeah, you know, many people are impacted when they come to actually see the facility and see what we have. I hear just time and time again, wow, I thought I knew what you did, now I really get it. Because when you actually see a shelter, it just changes you and your perception of what we do. But you're right, the second floor of our building is the domestic violence shelter, and the third floor is transitional housing for homeless women in recovery from substance abuse. If we have room, we also on the second floor will house, we have emergency housing for women and children who are homeless, not due to domestic violence, but they're just homeless needing shelter. So technically it's 3 core programs on 2 floors of our building. And we have a very large facility. Our second floor domestic violence shelter, we have 20 beds, and we configure families based on the size. We have one room that we specifically hold back for families with older boys because of modesty and because it has a private ensuite bathroom, to a room that has 6 beds for single women, women that come without their children. So we have a few different configurations on how they might stay. And if we're full and someone comes to us needing shelter, we will house people in the lounge in rollaway beds until a room becomes available. The third floor is where our transitional housing program is, and this is more of a long-term program. On the second floor, they're there 45 days or less. We're quickly trying to assess their needs and help them in the short term and get them off onto their own quickly. But women in recovery, it's quite a different story. They require a lot more support and time to work through their addictions, become gainfully employed, save for the future, work on budgeting, just the whole gamut. Many of those ladies also were referred through the court system because they had some sort of case in the drug court. And through that process, they may have lost custody of their children. Their families no longer have contact with them. So we truly are their family, their support system. So through that, we do help them try to reestablish their relationships with their children. The women in our transitional housing can do overnight and weekend visitations. We're authorized to supervise visitations. So you will find kids that don't live at the shelter coming to visit the third floor to visit their mothers. Mm-hmm. So the whole goal of that program is just to get those ladies to get their life back on track, work towards independence, and live free from addiction and hopefully become employed in a job that will support them so that they will not become homeless again.
Now, from my tour of the YWCA, I know you have some needs to help women who are in the housing programs there.
Sure, we are always, people will, you always know when it's spring cleaning time because the ladies pull up in their minivans and start bringing out garbage bags. We just, people are so kind in the community. We have people who donate clothing, household things like old washing machines and things. At different times of the year we need different things. So we don't always need a washing machine, but there's been times where one of our washers went down and we needed it, and someone just happened to be getting rid of one. So, but on any given day, people are dropping off toiletries. Because when women come, oftentimes they come just with the clothes on their back. Right. And so we have to provide shampoo and soaps and toothpaste and things like that, slippers to wear on the floor, pajamas, underwear, bras. So people are very generous to bring those things to us. We're always needing new underwear. It's not very glamorous, but it is definitely a need for children as well as women. We have children of all ages come in, diapers, formula. We're just very dependent on community generosity.
Right, yeah. But I'd like to touch a little bit more on domestic violence programs because I know in the summer the incidence of domestic violence tends to go up, and I imagine you're probably full and might be able to talk about just those services.
Yes, we are full. The need for domestic violence services is great in this community, unfortunately. There's 2 shelters in town that service women escaping domestic violence, and we're both full all the time.
Give me an idea of how a woman would initiate, like if she were watching and realized has this problem and wants to do something about it. What would be the process for her to come to the YWCA?
Well, we have a 24-hour crisis and referral line. So they can call.
Is that easy to find?
Well, we are listed under the emergency services numbers in a phone book, or online. If you were to do a search online, it would be easy, but I can say it now: 422-1191.
Okay.
You can call and speak to someone on the phone. You can just walk through the door. We're open 24 hours a day. So women come at all hours of the night. Sometimes they are escorted by police officers who have removed her from a domestic violence situation that the police responded to. Most of the time women just come on their own. When you come, one of our staff members will meet with a client. We will do an intake session to assess the needs and what's going on. If we are unable to take someone at that time because we're full, we'll do our best to first call the other domestic violence shelter in town to see if they can accommodate her, and if not, just still do our best to try to get some immediate needs met. There was one time, this was my first summer there 2 years ago, it was scorching hot outside, and this woman came in with an infant. The infant was red and crying and in complete distress, and she had with her a 5-year-old girl. We were full. But while she was with us, we had a case manager sit down and work through some things with her. She was on her way to get her WIC coupon so that she would have enough milk for the weekend for her baby, or formula for her baby for the weekend. And she was walking there in this heat. So while we couldn't house her, we paid for a cab to take her there and then take her back because she was staying temporarily on someone's couch. We paid for a cab to do that. We sent her off with diapers, formula, and I bought her lunch at the tea room. So, even if we can't immediately house someone, we're still just trying to do our best to connect people with resources. But what you'll find is very compassionate and caring staff. We have people with a very long tenure at the YW, people who've been there for a very long time. They know what they're doing. They know what resources are available. I will say, though, it doesn't always take just the woman herself to refer. Oftentimes a friend knows or suspects that their friend may be a victim of domestic violence. So it would be okay for a friend to also call us and ask for advice and get more information about resources available, and then present those resources to your friend. A really good thing to remember is never to judge. If someone is in a domestic violence relationship, don't judge.
Right.
Yeah, because you never know.
Cookin' Up Justice with attorney Gayle Gerling, Pettinga.
Thanks again to Erica Norris Taylor for being our first guest on Cooking Up Justice. I hope you'll tune in for future Cooking Up Justice shows. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you'll be able to find them on my blog, cookingupjustice.com.
Cookin' Up Justice with attorney Gayle Gerling, Pettinga.